Brendan Avin coming to you with the KBR Sports Podcast, the best sports podcast of your 24-hour day. Thanks for everybody tuning into this video. Definitely wanted to work hard on this video and bring it to you all. It's been a little bit since I put out a video. The last video I think was the Shaq video. If you haven't checked it out already, go check it out. But this video I wanted to talk about Derrick Rose some, just because I think some people don't know all that Derrick Rose was while he was playing, and some of it gets lost for a lot of people, especially the younger generation, of who Derrick Rose was and what he was to this generation. So I want to make a video about that. But guys, before I get everything kicked off, make sure you guys go and check out Fanatics. Fanatics is obviously the best company in terms of sports apparel, memorabilia, and everything. If you want to get something for the NFL, MLB, NBA, and so on, pretty much any other sport, go to Fanatics. You can always get anything, jerseys, t-shirts, shoes, all that in accordance to your favorite teams. So guys, make sure you go check out Fanatics. And if you want to get discounts on your orders, make sure you call 954-507-6928. But yes, guys, check out the video and let me know what you think. Leave comments and everything. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. Hit the little notification bell, as well as on Rabble, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spreaker. All right, guys. The NBA is one of the most popular sports around the world. It's a sport everyone collectively can participate in. Practically everyone can shoot, dribble, and pass basketball. It's a sport where, unlike football, you don't need too much to participate except a ball and a hoop. It's for this reason that so many idolize NBA stars and hold them to a level of celebrity. Basketball is such a relatable sport since anyone could partake in it. Although there is a slight disconnect between the common person and someone like LeBron James, who stands at 6'8", 250. LeBron is arguably the greatest athlete of all time. There are some things he can do on the court that even great athletes can't do. The high-flying acrobatic dunks from the free throw line, along with other things. He's a giant among trees, a club that most people will never be a part of. However, basketball has its own collective of underdogs most people can relate to and aspire to play like, the point guards. While LeBron may be most of America's favorite player because of all his accomplishments, he's an unreachable goal. While point guards like Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and others are more realistic since they're little guys playing a big man's game. Steph Curry is the current embodiment of this, with most kids trying to replicate his skill set. However, before Steph Curry's global fandom took hold of the NBA, Derrick Rose had everybody's attention. Derrick Rose recently scored his career high in points, 50 points on 61.3% shooting. It was truly a spectacular performance, a show that made many think back to a time when Derrick was must-see TV every single night. He was taken as the number 1 overall pick in the 2008 draft ahead of names such as Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love, and Eric Gordon. The Chicago native being taken by his hometown team. Does this story sound familiar? LeBron being taken by Cleveland, going to the Cavaliers, being from Akron. Just saying, just putting it out there. Rose was electric from his first steps on the NBA court. His breakneck speed and herky-jerky style were a sight to behold. Then there was his uncanny ability to finish around the rim with either hand, let alone contorting his body in multiple angles to create scoring avenues for himself. In his rookie season, he was named Rookie of the Year, first team all-rookie, and led the Bulls in arguably the greatest first-round playoff series of all time against the Boston Celtics. If you haven't watched it, go back and check it out. Really do yourself a favor. Go back and watch that series. Literally one of the greatest first-round series of all time. Just had to put it out there. He dropped 36 points and 11 assists in his playoff debut, making a name for himself. In his second year, he made a considerable jump in production. He took his points per game from 16.8 to 20.8 and was more efficient in improving from 47.5 field goal percentage to 48.9. He was able to take the Bulls back to the playoffs, making his first All-Star team, but would fall to LeBron and the Cavaliers, who won a league-best 61 games. It was his improvements from his second season and the playoff loss that urged him next season to push himself even further. Coming into his third year, Derrick was ready to take on the challenge and take the next step the league expected him to take, especially when he said, "Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league?" That rhetoric was the precursor to one of the most exciting individual seasons to watch. Derrick Rose was at the height of his athletic powers and was in continuous debates for most athletic point guard of all time next to Russell Westbrook. He took the biggest jump in production, going from 20.8 points per game to 25. He went from 6 assists to 7.7 and was a much better three-point shooter as well. D. Rose led a defensive Chicago Bulls team as its lone superstar to a league-best 62-20 record. He put the city of Chicago on his back and became the underdog of the NBA. His jaw-dropping plays seemed to be on a reel, occurring every single night. He became the youngest MVP in NBA history at 22 years and 6 months old. D. Rose's incredible season fell in line with the creation of the Big Three in Miami, the newly anointed Goliath of the NBA. The matchups between those two teams were heavily anticipated. Derrick made some of the most spectacular plays of his career in that year against the Heat. The Bulls did fall 3 games short of the NBA Finals to the Miami Heat, but the memory of Rose's efforts that year have never faded. Rose became the player every kid wanted to play like, working on finishing crazy layups at impossible angles just to replicate the feats performed by their MVP. In some ways, Rose became the Allen Iverson of this generation, captivating crowds with his killer crossover and explosive speed, a one-man show backed with defensive prowess. Similar to AI, Rose won an MVP in the midst of the best players' prime. It was Shaq for Allen Iverson and LeBron for Derrick. Derrick was also bounced by LeBron's Heat in a 5-game series in which, similar to Allen Iverson in the NBA Finals when he lost to Shaq and Kobe's Lakers. Despite both players' inability to capture championships at this point in their career, Allen Iverson obviously being retired and Derrick still playing, what everyone loved from both was that they always seemed to give everything they had to give. Rose is the perfect example of this, considering all the injuries he's dealt with in his career. Going from an MVP with promising years ahead of him to a journeyman who was traded to the Knicks, signed with the Cavs, then gets traded to the Jazz and gets waived 2 days later, and now finds himself trying to get reestablished with the Timberwolves. Rose went from being a sought-after talent to being an afterthought in some respects. That is why his 50-point performance meant so much. Regardless of where Rose's career is now, everyone knows how much he's endured to get to this point, which is why he's a player the NBA world will always root for. Even if his play may not lean towards him being the MVP everyone once knew and loved, in one 50-point night, he made us all remember and ask, what could have been? Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to the KBR Sports Podcast. Obviously, check out the video on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate you guys checking it out, the video. Also, make sure you guys go and check out the KBR Sports Podcast on Rabble, Spreaker, obviously on iTunes, YouTube, and every other network, SoundCloud, as well as Twitter and everything else. I always appreciate you guys keeping up with the KBR Sports Podcast and following on all social media platforms is most appreciated. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter at Abin Brendan, which is spelled ABBANBRENDAN, and where you guys can find my Twitter, all my different sports topics, where you'll find my thoughts about Derrick Rose and other things going on in sports. So make sure you guys go and check that out, and make sure you guys just leave a comment, review, let me know what you thought of the video, what do you think of the podcast, leave a rating, even 5 stars. I wouldn't be mad at you. I would not be mad at you at all. But guys, leave your opinions. I want to know what your thoughts are. What did Derrick Rose mean to you, especially at the height of his abilities, at the peak of his abilities, and what the downfall of Derrick Rose has meant? Because a lot of people have a top 5 NBA players list of what could have been with these guys like Derrick Rose, Tracy McGrady. I might do a video on T-Mac, Grant Hill, and so on, Greg Oden. So let me know what you think in the comment section, what you think these guys could have been, or what the league might have changed to be like if they would have stayed healthy. Would LeBron have gotten to X amount of finals consecutively if Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls would have stayed together and been in his way? What a different outlook, all these different questions that we don't know the answers to because Derrick Rose's injury sidelined him and we never got to find out. So guys, leave your comments, let me know what you think. I'll be more than happy to try and converse with you guys and see if we have like-minded thoughts. But guys, until next time, I am out, and thank you to all those who tuned in. Really worked hard on this one. Hope you guys loved it. Always guys, much appreciated.